it's good to be here. And Musa called me and he said, Sana, I need you here. So I sort of dropped everything and came here. I spoke to a few of the people here, so I've had to pivot a little bit. My presentation was a bit more broad. And here, what I would like for you guys, maybe, if I can be of help, maybe, interrupt me, ask me questions, because I want it to be more meaningful. And so, a little bit about myself, without boring you too much. I am from Hadramaut. I'm Yemeni. I was born in Ethiopia. My family roots are in Yemen and Hadramaut. Very strong roots in the coffee business, my family, in Ethiopia. And here, my extended family are Emirati, and then the rest of my family is in Seattle, Washington. So go figure. I don't even know where home is anymore. But what's very interesting is I've had the blessing of meeting companies, working with private and public entities across 3 continents, I can say. And it's very interesting when you talk about innovation. It's just one of those things. So initially I was going to focus innovation, but I think every company here is a tech company. Show of hands, everyone here is in tech, mostly in tech. Others, smart cities. Okay. Can you guys just shout out and tell me what other industries are here? So education, okay. Anything else? Huh? Real estate, okay. Okay, legal. Okay, good. This is very helpful. And so we all know one thing, and this is the pace of change. Things are just changing so quickly, so dramatically. And for myself, I run a company called Brand Moxie, but then I do a lot of other things. And some of them are passion projects. I have a film platform, a short film platform, and we've launched a climate change competition, and we're working with the Ministry of Climate Change. So I look at things that have impact. I also run an entity called Tamakkan, which focuses on innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership, and I've been doing that since 2009. But then the other thing that I do, and it's just bridging all of these little things that are run through my life, is I do consulting for government and for public organizations. So one of the things that I do in the municipality is to try to bridge the gap between the government and private organizations. So I work a lot in stakeholder relations, government relations. I work a lot with the embassies, with some of the communities. We do some really cool things in the municipality. We have Smart City Summit coming up in October in Abu Dhabi. Guys, just Google it and see. And so we have a few things. And then in February we have a summit on innovation. So Abu Dhabi municipality is pushing the envelope. It's about growth. It's about recognizing the need to evolve and to change, because, it's just that is a matter of necessity. It's not even a choice anymore. So when you look at places like Dubai, you look at Abu Dhabi, these guys really are very serious about innovation. They know, you have to keep abreast, you have to change, and you have to adopt new technologies. But then the very interesting thing, and this is not just Abu Dhabi, Dubai, but other governments, and I just came back from Addis Ababa looking at some of the situations in some of the African cities as well. It's how to define innovation. How do you define smart cities? How do you create the right kind of infrastructures that allows you to change and innovate? I think these are some of the very, very crucial discussions that are taking place and that we're exploring. So we know that entities want to innovate. Yeah, government needs to innovate. A lot of times with many of these entities, the processes are so ingrained and they're so rigorous and they're so systematic that they have to find new channels for innovation. And sometimes it's very difficult to innovate if you have so many things that you have to, so many hoops that you have to jump through. So I think there is a recognition that things have to change, and there are now little pools of opportunity testing beds, ways of, piloting projects and all of that. And the reason is because there are so many options and there are so many vendors and there are so many technologies. And many of these technologies are changing all the time. And so I think they realize that it is very important to look at different things that are happening, test them, create an opportunity for entities to come, but also provide and create secure systems that are fail-safe and that allow innovation to happen without there being, a mitigation of security or safety. So here, how can companies come and present to the government? It's a very good question. With a lot of the governments, and I'm not talking only about Abu Dhabi and Dubai, but generally, it's so important to understand what the requirements are. What are the pain points? What are the issues that they're suffering from? And then I was talking to a few guys who are working on blockchain and AI in Abu Dhabi. And, they were saying, it's just very difficult sometimes when you're also ahead of the curve. Because they have beautiful solutions, but people just don't understand what they're talking about. And I'm sure you guys relate to that. So the issue with a lot of, and this is the problem with technology, it's not so much education, not so much, the legal profession or real estate, but it is like that in technology. Sometimes you have to educate before you can even begin to present your solution. And so what we've tried to do in the municipality is to create a landscape where people can come in and pitch. You have a great idea, come and pitch. Right now, we're going to be launching a poster wall, for instance, for the Smart Summit. Anyone who has a really cool idea. But even then, when you talk about something like that, there's so many different things, so many different technologies, and the definitions are just very broad when you talk about them, And so my advice for many of you guys here is really try to get into the education cycle. Nobody will be interested in what you have unless they know the value that it delivers, unless they know that whatever you do will impact users in the end. And also, be ready to stay with them, Be ready to invest in training and support and all of that. For me, I've just seen many situations, broadly speaking, where an entity might invest a lot of money on something, but guess what? It's just sitting there, and it's by the time the training cycle has started, by the time people know how to use it, it's gone obsolete. So show that you are in it for the long run. Show that you are there to help the entity evolve. And show that you are committed to delivering value and to upgrading the solution, even if that's needed as well. So that would be my advice to all of you. Any questions that I can address? Because
So within government structure, speaking specifically to water authorities,
okay.
how do you find your position? Is it held across all government relations, or within all government entities, or
Yeah.
who's the point person that's actually trying to push innovation?
It's very interesting. Within different entities, government entities, there's innovation departments. And even, say, within Dubai, for instance, there are different entities that deal with innovation. Now, even when you drill down and talk about innovation, what are you talking about, So the most important thing, for example, that I always promote is, invest in knowledge sharing, guys. Show people what your technologies do. Show what you're talking about. And maybe that is one of the ways to get into some of these organizations and meet people who could possibly showcase your product. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember, nobody can make a decision to take your technology if they don't know what it is. You know what I mean? And here, you want to be able to create impact. You want it to start somewhere and people to recognize the benefit of what you're doing and to grow. So with the municipality, last year we had pitches, innovation pitches. And it was very interesting because it was a mixed bag. We got startups and then we got companies that were developed. The problem with a lot of these things, and right now everybody's trying to solve this. Nobody has a fail-safe blueprint that is working. But the problem with a lot of these things is even if you find a company that is just really delivering on what they want and all of that, then you get into a situation where the guys in finance will say, yeah, but we need 3 quotations, because this is the way things are. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's very, very difficult to get something in if you have to follow the very traditional path. This is at acquiring, stage. But then when you talk about creating an innovation culture as well, you look at organizations like Lockheed Martin, for example, that are bootstrapping and they have their own organization that where Skunkworks. Skunkworks within Lockheed Martin. How many of you know Skunkworks? Anyone know Skunkworks? Okay. In Lockheed Martin, this is our friend Bob, they have an organization where Skunkworks is an entity, a space where the individuals can innovate. So they do not abide by all of the rules that are in an organization. They go in there, they're creative, they're innovative, and they just, they're able to grow. And that's the kind of innovation culture that ideally will bring in a lot of new ideas and could open up the space for some of the entities to listen to companies that have great ideas as well. Why? Because they are living, breathing, and working in innovation all the time. So I wish there was a very simple answer to innovation. It's actually very, very complicated. And for me, I work with entrepreneurs on the innovation thing and then the private and public institutions. But if you look at innovation, the thing that has to change for many institutions is the way we look at things, the way we work. We need to be faster. Employees in private and public organizations have to learn continuously. Because these days, we talk about experts, digital experts. To be honest, it's very difficult to be a digital expert because things keep changing all the time. You might be an expert today, but you might not be an expert in a couple of months. The algorithms change, the solutions change, the technologies change. So the very fundamental thing that has to happen in government, private, and all institutions, and something that we need our children to be aware of and ourselves also to adopt, is the fact that we need to be changing very quickly because things change, as you know. And a lot of your technologies, I bet, you develop them and then you realize that you have to change it and you have to upgrade it, and not just the technology, but the branding, the communication, the user interface, the business cases as well. So I can see how it's very challenging, and I honestly wish I had simple answers for you. Any other questions before I wrap up? Anyone have any questions? Okay. Guys, I wish everyone an amazing stay here. I know you guys are in good hands, and I hope you're successful with your investments. Thanks.